Hello everyone, and let's talk about Chain Letter by Christopher Pike. The first time I tried to read this, I was in maybe 6th or 7th grade, and it scared me and I DNF'd it. And so I've picked it up recently to try to reread it, and I made it through this time. And now as a 40-year-old looking back at when I was, again in 11, 12, 13, around that age, it's like, that really scared me. I was reading a lot of Fear Street. I would say you have Goosebumps by Earl Stein, Fear Street by Earl Stein, and then Christopher Pike just takes it to a whole new level. Now, Christopher Pike, I will say the language is rougher compared to Earl Stein. So if you want to be more if you don't want the language, then do R.L. Stein. But if you do want the more rougher, nittier, grittier, then Christopher Pike. So anyway, yeah, this scared me when I was young, and so I finally read it, and I read it all the way through. So Chain Letter by Christopher Pike. This is part of a duology called Chain Letter, and this was originally published in 1986. So depending on the month, I was more than likely 2 years old when this was published. Unless this was published at the last couple days of December, then I would have been 3. But seeing as it was 1986, more than likely I was 2 years old when this was published. This is told in third person, and this is told in a couple of different POVs. Now, you don't know whose point of view you're following until you start into the chapter and get some information. So sometimes we're following a group of like 6 teenagers, and so it alternates between all 6. Well, not all 6, but it alternates between quite a few of them. And again, you don't know whose you're in until it says goes a little further into it, like a couple of paragraphs in. This is a young adult horror, and there is no audiobook available for this. At least when I read this book, there was no audiobook available. What is this about? We start out with these group of teens going to a concert. Beach Boys is mentioned. I don't remember if Beach Boys was the concert or not, but I want to say it is the Beach Boys. So anyway, they go to this concert. There's some underage drinking. You have drinking and driving. There is an issue that happens involving the drinking and driving. And then we're about a year later. So that's the first chapter. I don't want to say because I don't want to spoil what happens. And now we're in the next, like a year later. This chain letter appears to one of the friends. And the person that writes the chain letter is called the caretaker, or your caretaker. So they're trying to figure out, is this a joke or not? If they don't follow through with doing the tasks, so each chain letter says you have to do a certain task, like deface school property, like do some graffiti or steal something. Stealing isn't one of them, but it's like, things like that. So they go through, and then if you complete the task, then you move your name to the bottom of the list and send the chain letter to someone else. And in this group of friends, it sticks to this group of like 6 friends. And they're seniors in high school, and they're trying to figure out, is it one of them? Is it someone that witnessed the event that happened that night when they were drunk and heading home from the concert? What's going on? Each task gets progressively more risky, and then if you don't complete the task, there is a consequence, and that consequence is not good. If you think the task you have to complete is bad, the consequence is worse, type of a situation. And so they're trying to figure it out. It gets to the point where their lives are on the line, and then I'm going to end it there because that's what this is about. It's just them trying to figure out who it is. Is it worth doing the task, especially as they get progressively worse, and things like that. So that's really what it's about. Your content and trigger warnings. You do have underage drinking. You have DUI, so underage drinking and driving. You have underage smoking. And because I don't know the exact age. I think you need to be like 18 at least, maybe 20, 21 to smoke like cigarettes. But they're like 17, 16. I think that's too young, at least here in the United States. But I don't know the exact age, so I'm just assuming. Another content or trigger warning is there's a lot of emphasis with the girls on their weight. So a lot of talk about that, about their weight, especially where some of them are in the school play and need to kind of watch their figure with costumes and stuff like that. So that's your content and trigger warning. Oh, you also have death of a teen and you have cancer mentioned. There are some fun things that were mentioned, as you will have heard from just that very brief description. The Beach Boys are mentioned, as well as Weight Watchers, hence the talk of weight. And you also have Hell's Angels referenced. So I thought that was pretty cool. This takes place in California. Told in third person. As far as rep, we don't get a lot of talk about different reps. So it's just going to be all up to your imagination. So that's your content and trigger warning, and that's what the book is about. Now let's get into the words in case you are still on the fence. We have breasts twice, erotic 4, and you'll see, if you read Fear Street by R.L. Stine, you're going to see how much rougher the language gets in this. Damn 11, the word God 15, not in a religious sense. Kinky twice, the word suicide twice. Nothing is mentioned. It's just like if we do this, it's an act of, if you do this task, it's basically like social suicide. That's kind of the reference. The word hell, 18. Damn it, 5. Castrate, once. Bitchin', once. Bastard, 5. The term godforsaken, once. There is an F word in this that is a slur, and it is a slur for someone who is gay, and that is used once. The word queer is used once. In this case, it is used not in reference to anything LGBT. It is in reference to being odd or strange. The word God's sake, once. SOB, once, literally those initials or abbreviation, SOB. The term Christ's sake, once. Bitch, twice. Ass, twice. Pornographic, once. And the word Lord, once. Not in a religious sense. So, as you can see, the language is a bit rougher, definitely more mature. So, I would say, you have, the Fear Street books are young adult. And I would say this is just a little bit more mature for mature audiences. Anyone can read, you can read anything, but depending on their age and maturity level, for those who are at the age demographic, this will be a little bit more for mature audiences compared to Fear Street books. So that's The Chain Letter by Christopher Pike. Let me know, have you read this? I know Christopher Pike has a lot of other books out, so let me know, have you read anything by Christopher Pike? And if you had, what has been your favorite read, or is Christopher Pike not for you? Let me know. Talk to me in the comment section below. And until next time, stay true to yourself and enjoy a good book, and I will talk to you later.